the stage. He's a two-time world champion team roper, Mr. Patrick Smith. They're going crazy. They're going nuts, Patrick. They're loving it. He also won the round last night. We're going to talk about that. And he's a three-time NFR qualifier, brought to you by Lone Star Ropes, Mr. Kaleb Driggers. Hey, look at you. Hello, Kaleb. How's it going, guys? I know we're busy around here. I'm sure y'all are even more busy. But Las Vegas, Patrick, how's it going?
You know, it's going good. Kind of got off to a slow start this week, as well as did all the team ropers. For those of you that have been watching, it's been a pretty chaotic week in the team roping, to say the least.
Yeah. Till last night, you and Trevor, y'all won $18,000 last night.
Yeah, last night, that's what I was actually talking to my wife. We had won $10,000 going into last night.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how it's funny out here. I've been here, you know, and done good, and been here and done bad, but the thing that you can't do out here is when you're off to a slow start or things aren't necessarily going the way you want, you've still got to remember almost $19,000 a night. I mean, you can those first place checks add up fast, so you can turn your week around in a hurry.
And I guess normally, you know, if you have a bad night, you got to drive 500 miles, you know, to the next one, but it's right back at it.
Yeah, you're right back at it.
Even if you win, you're right back at it. Tonight's a new night.
Well, and for 18,000,
yeah,
not 1,800. I mean,
that's exactly.
A lot of those 500 and 1,000-mile trips. We go to the rodeos, and it might pay 2,000 or 3,000 to win the round. So, and you're going against 100 teams.
Right.
We're going against 15 for that kind of money. It's anybody's week, and there's a lot of money left to be won, and everybody's kind of asking me to predict what's going to happen, and I'm telling you, I'm not sure the Lord himself's not trying to figure out the team roping this week of what's going to happen. It's been unbelievable.
Yep. And Kaleb, I know you don't want to talk about it. We won't talk about it long, but talk about your run last night.
Yeah, I had a steer they won the round on, and I was pretty excited about having him, and then he never would get right in the chute.
Right.
And then when I nodded, he turned around and looked at me.
Yep.
And I thought I still scored good, and he just trotted out, and I missed.
Right, sure.
Pretty short.
It happens to the best of them. But the steers, it seems like the way they are breaking out of the chute, that seems like, you know, they're kind of hesitating, and then it looks like on TV, you know, they're so big they look slow, you know, but them things are moving, aren't they?
Yeah, they. I don't know if it's because they're so big or if the horns are big or what's causing it, but they're not breaking as good as normal, and you're having to score a little bit, and then some of them ain't starting at all.
Right.
And that's part of Vegas is the start so short that you just, I mean, it's nod and go every time, and then when they don't go, it kind of fouls everything up.
Right, sure. Patrick, go ahead, buddy.
It's a little bit like a quarter horse versus a thoroughbred too. Those steers' strides are so long, it does make them look slower, but they're covering a lot more ground when they're this big, and that's just like Kaleb's saying, the start is so crucial for a header here.
Right.
And the thing that's different in the team roping this year versus the previous years where it gets really tough is we always have a history on the cattle. We can go in and say, I have this steer that him and Travis ran the night before or a couple nights before. We know what he's going to do.
Right.
And these steers aren't doing that.
Yeah.
They were fresh enough that they didn't have the pattern to know when the gates open, they run to the back end. If they get roped, they stay on the end of the rope. Right. They're just fresh enough that we get something different every time. And just because he left the time before, just like he was a great steer. And then last night, turns his head, he has to pull. And then if you end up missing the barrier, it's almost worse than breaking the barrier in this arena this year. So definitely not quite. I mean, it looks like guys just aren't roping very good, but I'm telling you, it's a lot tougher out there than it looks.
Yeah, it's a different deal. You know, David Key was up here talking a little bit ago, and there's a lot going on at the middle of the arena or towards that middle back half. You know, we're not used to seeing that, you know, here in this short arena. It don't take long to get there either, does it, Kaleb, to the middle, you know? I mean, and that's not ideal. I mean, that's not – of course, you know, we're all after fast times, but you are used to – working towards as the neck rope's breaking right there, and that's not the case this year, is it?
Yeah, and I think it goes back to the start again.
Yeah.
I mean, before you could always get a good go right there.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, I broke the barrier, but I threw right at the line. I might have been the only guy that's done it so far this week. Nobody, and normally 12 out of 15 guys throws right there.
Yeah.
And just because the start's kind of fouled up, it's not working the same.
Right, sure. And Patrick, as far as heeling goes, how does that change, you know, where you're a little further down the pin? That's got to set up, you know, your heel shot a little bit different than what you're used to here. It
is a little different, just like what Kaleb's talking about. Things aren't happening quite as fast.
Right.
I mean, I remember a year before last, Trevor and I were 4-5 two different nights and didn't win a check either night.
Yeah.
And then we're 4-8 and win first in the go-round. 5-6 wins first in the go-round the night before that. So it's definitely different for a healer too, because it just takes patience.
Yeah.
I mean, you back in the box and all the money's up, the pressure, and you just want to get out there and do your job. But you've got to remember, just like I was talking about with the headers, these steers are so big and they're wanting to just be a little bit soggy and kind of hang on the end of it. It just takes patience of making sure you stay off, can see your target all the way through the corner, and make sure you put plenty of loop on the ground.
Oh, yeah. And, Kaleb, you can probably talk about this. You know, let's say you're pretty early in the round. I mean, as far as, out that night, say you're the third team out, something like that. Fourth team out on paper, the round seems pretty soft, maybe in the 5s or the 6. What do you have to tell yourself? It's got to be. It's a totally different, from what you're used to, out here. Do you have to be more conservative than what you're normally used to?
Yeah, you probably should be. I wasn't last night. I was 4th out last night, and I was trying to win the round, but they've been soft. The round's been real soft, and being first out, you don't really know what's going to happen. Just like last night, the last 3 teams won first, second, third. Yeah. So it's definitely an advantage to go at the end, I believe, but you still need to catch your steer.
I guess you got to just use your steer, as best as you can. I guess that's your game plan every time, just take whatever he can give you, huh?
Yeah, and one thing I was going to try to do this weekend, I haven't done a very good job doing it, but 4 rounds left, I'm going to try to turn it around. Right,
sure, absolutely. Patrick, as far as, this whole deal, when do we start talking about the average? What is tonight, round 6?
Round 7.
Round 7.
Tonight's round 7. Yeah, my goodness. I mean, we all come in here with a game plan.
Right.
And usually by about round 3, I've crumbled my game plan, thrown it out the window, and wrote a new one. So that's kind of the way it's worked out again this year. People were talking earlier about predictions of who's going to do what. And I'm just going to tell you, we can get pens and papers out and write 1,000 different scenarios, but until the 10th round rolls around, we won't know. There's no way to predict who's – Luke Brown is the only team that has 7 steers I'm sorry, 6 steers caught. So, I mean, he knows – I was talking to him earlier today, and to me, I've been in that position before, and it's really one of the worst positions you could possibly be in, because all the eyes are on you to just get a time.
Right.
If he gets 4 more times, he's going to win the average. I mean, he can break the barrier and rope a leg, and they're going to win the average. And that's the thing about it. I don't know that that's a position that I necessarily like being in. I kind of like being where – I'm needing to move up in the average. Not saying that if I was first I would be complaining, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But it's a little more fun roping here, knowing that you're going to rope for the money that's up that night too, not trying to protect your average lead. So the average is anybody's game. I mean, it keeps shifting every night. Guys roll around in the average because once you've had a no time, you kind of almost let your hair down a little bit and go for the go-rounds a little more. But then you realize, man, now we have 2 no times, and we could have been second in the average. So still a lot left to see what happens.
As far as Luke and those guys go, they've got, like you said, they've got their steers caught, but they can't think, hey, we need to be conservative and track our steer, or there's no time for that in that arena, right?
Well, usually I would say yes, but Luke and Colin, the last few days, have done a great job of just survival mode. They've had a couple steers they didn't necessarily like. Luke's got out and turned them. They haven't necessarily handled very good, and Colin's been smart and made sure and catch 2 feet. And like Kaleb said, the rounds have been so soft that they're plugging along and winning 3rd and 4th in the go-rounds. And I mean, if you can, catch 4 more steers and place 4th 2 or 3 times and get you a 2nd or 3rd place check and an average check, I mean, that's a lot of money between here and Saturday. And that gives those guys a good chance at a world championship. And the world championship race is not over for Kaleb. It's not over for me. And like I said, just like him, the main thing is to stick to your run, not try to do too much, and that's hard. That's hard to do out here when you're out of the averages. You start trying to win go-rounds, and when you do that and you kind of step out of your comfort zone, I think that this week it's about making a consistent, smooth run as fast as you can, just like what you were saying. Take what the steer gives you and let the chips fall.
Well, I think one of the hottest topics, coming into this NFR, there's been some partner changes going on, and Kaleb's now going to head for you. And Trevor's going to head for Travis Graves, but a lot of people, talked about that, and just talk about Travis Graves for us for just a second.
Oh, he's been an awesome partner for me. It's just one of them business deals. When it's time to change, it's time to change.
Absolutely.
And I like the crap out of him. He's a nice guy, and don't have one bad word to say about him. Just one of them deals when it's time to change, it's time to change.
And this ain't the first time in a team roping that there's been partner changes. I think you guys are just, you're so on the forefront, of this sport. Everybody's just, and y'all been, y'all been together for so long. This happens all the time, as far as guys changing partners. And y'all even rope with different guys throughout the year sometimes at different rodeos and stuff like that. But talk about Trevor Brazil. Talk about, y'all been together, 7 years now?
Trevor and I have roped for 7 years. This is our 7th NFR together.
Yep.
Just like Kaleb said, Trevor's one of my best friends.
Yeah.
That relationship remains the same.
Right.
It's Kaleb lives close to me.
Sure.
I've been saying all week over and over again that Kaleb's this is his 3rd NFR, and it's his 3rd NFR that he's come in as a true contender to win a gold buckle.
Yeah, exactly.
He's hungry for his first world title, and Trevor's got world championship buckles on his Christmas tree for ornaments, is what I've been saying. So it's nothing. It's not. I would say it's a business decision as much as anything. It's just to do something fresh.
Sure.
Like I said, Kaleb is somebody I'm excited about roping with. Everybody knows how talented he is, and he's going to be around for a long time doing this. And if he doesn't get his first gold buckle this year, maybe he can get it with me next year. So I am excited about roping with him, but at the same time, all respect to Trevor, and congrats to him too on his big 19th gold buckle. That's really saying something. We've had a good time in the last 7 years.
And you've kind of touched on, Kaleb, last year was your 2nd year. You were $1,200 out from winning the world on your 2nd year. That don't happen. That's a feat, right there in itself. And, you'll get yours before too long at all. But like you said, y'all live close. You'll be able to practice more, that kind of deal. And that makes a huge difference. You live almost probably, 2 hours from Trevor's house?
Yeah,
door
about
to
an
door,
hour. It's about an hour and a half. And he and I live about 20, 30 minutes apart. And this guy, he likes to turn steers. And that's what he wakes up thinking about, is heading. And my goodness, we've already roped a few thousand steers together probably and haven't even entered but one rodeo. So like I said, I'm excited about the new year, and I think it'll be good.
And I think there's a lot of people don't know this, but the 2014 season's already started. Y'all roped together already once maybe or something like that?
We went to one rodeo so far, yep.
How'd you do on that one?
We didn't do any good there. We didn't have a very good steer.
Patrick.
And
he hazed bad.
I hazed him too far to the left. And I told him I got to get it figured out, get him hazed into his loop.
Yeah.
The way that I've done for Trevor.
Y'all can work on that in live pan. When you get back, you can work on that deal.
That's right.
Hey, you guys are brought to us up here today by Lone Star Ropes. I don't want to forget about that, but talk about Lone Star Ropes for us real quick.
Yeah, I've been with Lone Star for 2 years now. I love the ropes. They're very consistent. I think that's very important when deciding what rope you want to use. You want to find a consistent rope, just so you know the same feel every time. And luckily I got Lone Star.
Right, sure. Patrick?
Lone Star for me was something that this year I actually, there was a time when my tack room kind of looked like the rope corner wall over here. I had about every brand of rope you could have in my tack room, was swinging through them. And Lone Star was one that I'd never felt of or used, and was really surprised at how good the ropes felt. Started talking to them and jumped on and got on the team. And for those of you that don't know, Lone Star has been around for quite a while making ropes, and now they built a brand new rope shop, brought new machines in, and they're getting really serious in the business. And like I said the other day, you're going to see a lot and hear a lot about Lone Star ropes. And they've got a variety of ropes that I like and use. I've used the Falcon. I've used the Titan. I've used 2 different ropes this week at the NFR. They've all worked great, felt great. There's a new rope coming out called the Storm that we've been working on, and it's actually out now at the South Point. And I know you'll see it everywhere this next year, but definitely something I'm excited about, being a part of that team. I think they really are going to take everybody by surprise this next year with their ropes. You
just mentioned, using 2 different ropes. How come? Tell us about that.
Weather has a lot to do with ropes, and that's what when we were at home. We live in Texas. There was a lot of days we were practicing. It was 80 degrees. We're in short sleeve shirts practicing, and then even at night in Texas, it might be in the 30s or lower 40s, but there's a lot more humidity than there is here. And it doesn't matter what kind of rope you're using. If you go from humidity to just the dry desert air like it is out here, that moisture leaves, the rope softens up, it changes. I've talked to every healer back there, and the ropes changed a lot. So I've got different ropes for different, kind of different scenarios, and whether it's 25 degrees or 60 degrees. So they've all felt really good. It just affects the lay and how stiff the rope is. And as big as these steers are this week, I wanted to make sure that I had the stiffer ropes and try to get as much of it stood up in front of those big old legs as I could.
Absolutely. I don't want to forget about this. Y'all got a new DVD out right here, Epic Team Roping, and it's Clay Trine, Kaleb Driggers, Jade Corkill, and Patrick Smith. And talk about this. It's a little different than anything we've ever seen, but tell us about it here real quick.
Yeah, I think it's a very unique DVD. Like when I was growing up, I tried to put a little bit of, take some from him and, Speed or whoever and put it all into one, and that's kind of how I got my style. And I think it's pretty cool that you can see me and Clay and then him and Jade roping as well, and you can, put it together and make your own style of roping, but it seems to work best for me.
Tell us about I think we've got a short video as well we're fixing to watch up here, but tell us about the drone little helicopter deal there, Patrick.
Well,
it's pretty
see,
cool. Just
like he's saying, I mean, watching team roping runs, we've all watched them. I mean, over the years, I know that team ropers, they love to watch team roping. That's just all there is to it. You can't get enough of it. And we had the idea of coming up with this DVD. Last year, I released Driven. It was a healing-based DVD, had a lot of rodeo runs and stuff in it, but we really broke down the basics of how you swing your rope, hold your rope, everything like that. And this one is more about how we practice, what we do. It's just a lot of runs. I know when we started, we had over 2,000 filmed runs that we went through and handpicked and to make sure that all the angles were good. It's got super slow motion. It's got a new head camera that we all use that takes all the motion out of it, so that it's a real still camera shot, so you can see exactly what we're doing, where our left hand is, where our hand is when we're delivering our rope. And I think seeing is believing. And when somebody tells you how to do something, it's one thing, but when you can actually see yourself or see somebody else do it in super slow motion, it just kind of backs up all the philosophy that they've been telling you. And that's what this video I think is going to do for people. We had a flying drone, which is a little, it's like a helicopter, remote-controlled helicopter with a camera on it. And TJ, the guy that was filming the video, he got so good at it that he could literally hover it in front of the steer, back it up, follow us throughout the run, and you're going to be able to see angles and different shots that you've never been able to see before. And this video has been selling like crazy this week, and I know on Facebook we've all been getting just blown up with people talking about how much they like it. And it's not a normal instructional video, but it's just a lot of team roping runs backed up with, we break it up in sections with questions of how do we mentally prepare, how do we get our horses ready for the rodeos and the jackpots, and how do we get the most out of our practice. So it's got some information and a little insight to how we think and prepare as well.
Yeah, well, we're going to watch this here real quick, and I think when people see it, I saw it for the first time when you were here yesterday or day before, and it's different than anything we've ever seen. Do we have that ready? Thank you, Dave. This is the new video right here, just kind of a clip for you here.
We've had a lot of people talking about the aerial shots and how well they can see different things, but just like that right there. But my personal favorite is the super slow motion. It's so crisp and clear so that you can see so much in a run, and I really think anybody that likes watching team roping is really going to enjoy it.
I do too. Where's this filmed at? Patrick, is this your place?
That's my place there, and then also we were at Clay Trine's place.
Oh, I see.
All of it was in Lipan, Texas.
Okay. That's great right there, and they can get that. I mean, we've got them here. I've seen them at several different spots, and
yeah, they're on the actual cash registers up front. Epic Team Roping. You can go to epicteamroping.com and get them. But I know that if you're here, it's a great Christmas present. It's over an hour long of nothing but team roping runs and some interviews about some, insightful questions.
Yeah,
we get a little insight.
Well, guys, I know you're busy. I'm not going to keep you, but we appreciate y'all coming up here and hanging out with us. Y'all going to hang around a minute? You got to run? What's your plans?
I think we may be going back to the Lone Star booth right back here.
Perfect.
Yeah. Back in the rope corner. We'll be back there for a few minutes.
And surely if they buy a video, you guys will sign it or do something, huh?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a two-time world champ, Patrick Smith. He's a future world champ, Kaleb Driggers. Y'all give him a hand.